Welcome to the Women on the Boogie podcast. We four average guys again with our special guest that we'll introduce here in just a minute. I was just here to talk to y'all a little bit of things about sports. As usual, we're not from. Well, we're gonna cut that part.
What was that going? Where's he going with that?
Oh no!
They go trying to freestyle.
Hey, look at here. It's been a long day, man. It's been a long day.
We're not from where? I want to hear the rest of it. We're not from where?
We'll talk about that later. But where we are, as always, we have the almighty, the Wonder Mouse, Dorian Anthony Brown, coming from Richmond, California. We got Antoine DOOZE Williams coming from Florissant, Missouri. And today, we got Brian Adam Cole. We call him B. Cole.
The fluffy lover.
The what?
He know what I'm talking about.
I do. No, you hear that. Say it again. You got to put it on the air. Say it again.
The fluffy lover.
The fluffy lover. All right. We're going to call him Fluffy.
My little brother that's bigger than all three of us.
B. Cole coming in from Minneapolis and Twin Cities, Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And of course, you have me, Rod D, coming to you as always from the Detroit, Michigan. And to answer the first question, dudes, it ain't about where we at, it's about where we from. Because we all from the boogie. I got it right that time.
He said we're not from where?
We're not from.
Hey, there's a wonderful thing called editing that we gonna use to correct all the errors.
True that.
It's hypocrisy, I tell you.
Look at here. Bro, it's a long day. I'm tired, but I can't get it. As Jalen said, I got to get the people what they want.
Oh Lord, don't get us sued.
I'm gonna put a hashtag to Jalen Rose too.
Right.
Anyway,
we'll be there, Jalen. We'll be there.
We'll be there in a couple of weeks, bro. In a couple of weeks. As always, we're gonna start this with our recap from the Wonder Mouse. Dorian, tell us what we talked about last week.
All right. So last week in the NBA, we talked about the Summer League. We talked about the in-season tourney. We talked about some NBA trades as always. We talked about, Jalen Green, the Plukin video. We talked about Wimbledon, Coco Gauff losing in the first round. The great tournament that Christopher Eubanks had, even though he ended up losing. We talked about the coming of the WNBA All-Star Game. We'll get that. We'll talk about that again today. We gave a big RIP to Nikki McCrae Penson and sending thoughts and prayers to her family. We had talked a little bit about the PGA with the Live PGA merger of whether or not it was an actual merger or not. A little bit of NFL news. There wasn't really too much going on. There's some stuff happening today that we'll get into. We talked about the baseball. We talked about the All-Star Game, the Home Run Derby, the skills competition, De La Cruz, my Reds, even though we've been losing lately. We talked about the NCAA, the coaching troubles that are happening in the NCAA. Now the heat has really gotten turned up with what's happening in Northwestern. But we talked about Pat Fitzgerald and what's happening at Northwestern with the hazing, Bob Huggins rescinding his resignation and blaming it on his wife. We said we're gonna do like T-Pain. We're gonna blame it on the alcohol.
Blame it on his woman. Blame it on the boogie.
Right. And really even more baseball we got into. I thought what was important. We talked about this revisionist history with Ken Griffey and the backwards hat. And we talked about Whitey Ball being back in baseball.
Racist.
And how we gonna get people who don't know better gonna say we racist because we calling it Whitey Ball. And that was it. That was what we talked about last week.
Yeah, we had fun last week. We're gonna try to pull it to move that on to this week also and have just as much fun. But for all of you that are just joining us, all you that are have been with us since the beginning, please don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and what's the other one?
Is this 22? 22?
No, this 21. This Dion right here, bro.
Okay.
This Dion.
21st episode.
We had 2 dimes and a penny.
We
2
prime.
dimes and a penny.
We prime now. Coach Prime.
But again, hit that like button, the subscribe button. If you want to send us an email, there's our email, boogieblaming@gmail.com. If you just want to go and check out previous episodes, all of our episodes are on biotbpodcast.com. They're also on Spotify, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere where you can find your podcast. But come holler at us. Drop us an email. If it's something that you want us to talk about, we'll gladly talk about it if it makes sense.
Right. As long as it ain't stupid.
As long as it ain't stupid. Because I don't care what y'all say. There is such a thing as a stupid question.
You're a professor. Yes, it is.
D get them every day.
All the time.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're going to start this week off with one of my favorite athletes. We're going to call this brother a straight up athlete. He proved it this week how athletic he is. But Sir Wardell Stephen Curry. What we gonna call him, Steph? Steph is a great 3-point shooter, a great basketball player, one of the best point guards in the history of the NBA. But this past week, he showed how athletic he is, and that's by winning the American Century Celebrity Golf Tournament. And in that tournament, D, tell me what the brother did.
Well, first of all, he won. That's number one.
Number one.
But he had a hole in one.
Woo!
These are just one. The celebrity tournaments like this is just one day.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a hole in one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said he eagled. I thought it was a birdie, but
eagled
with a walk-off putt, and then he walked off. So man, this cat is just and he almost now if he'd have hit this, did you see the one he threw the shot ball backwards? They had a basketball going out there, and the women handed him the basketball, and he did this and almost made that shot. Now if he'd have made that, I'd have said, I don't know, I'd have like this dude is just beyond blessed. If he'd have made that. But what can I as a very amateur, terrible golfer. The fact that this cat is able to hoop the way he does, but then play golf like this, man. I don't know what I'm saying. I really don't, man. He's incredible.
Dudes, what John is Dude's dad. Dudes, what did John say about Steph?
My father said a long time ago, we were watching a playoff game when he made a three-pointer to win the game. And he said, God likes Steph more than he likes everybody else. and that's true. The first thing I thought about when I saw that this weekend. I'm like, God really likes this guy because there ain't nowhere in the world he makes the shots and does the things that he does.
But you know what I will have to say is that Steph, even though he's blessed with a lot of talent, that brother, he practices his craft both in basketball and in golf often.
That's the only way you can do what he does.
That's the only way you can do what he does, which allows him to be as blessed as he is. Because man, I'm telling you, to hit a hole in one, man. Not only hit a hole in one, but to do it on national TV where all these people see you hit this hole in one. That's just great.
In the tournament play, in competition. Yeah.
So on 18, D, he went in, they were tied. He got on in 2, right? He had I think it was like a 12 or 14 foot putt for eagle. I mean, perfect line, smacked it. And like you said, before it even hit the cup, like he do on the basketball court, he running down the hole, celebrating, jumping up and down because he knew he did something great. The brother's just good. What say you, Adam?
I mean, I haven't seen anything like this before, at least from an amateur player, if you will. It's been you can't make that up. You just got to let it happen.
That's one of those made for TV type movies, man.
Right.
I'm gonna hit this hole in one, and then I'm gonna eagle on 18 to win the tournament. Come
Right.
on, man.
And then I'm gonna go get it. Then I'm gonna go hit a 3-pointer to win the game.
Right.
Exactly.
Most like PGA folks can't do that. You know, he's just
Right.
an amateur and he did it flawlessly. That putt was amazing.
Right.
He had something on, I think I want to say it was the 14th or 15th. He had this impossible shot around a tree. I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
So hold up. Dorian sent me this video earlier. The golfer was teeing off. He teed off, hit the ball. It was low. It hit the tees in front of him and bounced backwards.
Right. And then it hit the other one and then bounced.
That's what I would be doing. That's what I would be doing, especially with all these eyes on me. That's what I would be doing. But for him to come through in the clutch, man, it just shows you how. Again, Steph Curry, great basketball player. More than that, he's a great athlete. He's a great athlete
and a great person. He does a lot here in the Bay Area for the community, and a lot of that he does over in Oakland. So he's doing it with the people, right? That kind of thing, right. So he's one of them kind of cats that he is beloved over in the Bay period, obviously, but he's really beloved over here in Oakland. As I was saying before, my wife Tara, Adam's sister, some of the work that she's done, she did with the Steph and Aisha Curry Foundation, and they do a lot over here in Oakland, man. So he's the bomb on the court, on the course, and in the community. The 3 C's. Now I sound like he's the 3C man. Give my nod to Dick Vitale.
Diggy V. Hey, still shout out to Diggy V. Still sending prayers.
Yeah, he's fighting Dick.
But one of the things, since we're talking about Steph, one of the things that I most admire about Steph is that when he first got into the league, he had all these injuries. The same injury with that ankle. He just could not get right. And not only was Golden State thinking about not signing him for his second contract, but his shoe company didn't want to sign him either. So Steph stepped out on faith and bet on himself and picked a shoe company. Can y'all see that?
Shameless plug there.
Right.
He picked a shoe company that was still in their relative infancy. Wasn't a lot of basketball players walking around in Under Armour. Steph went with Under Armour, got a great contract where he got percentages of everything, and now he has one of the richest contracts as far as athletic wear there is. Better than LeBron. The only one that he rivals is Jordan and Kobe. But other than that, Steph is the man. So because of that, man, I have much respect for the brother. Plus, I mean, he on the well, he's still 6'3", but we still gonna say he's short. we still gonna say he's short. So he one of the better short guys.
No, he ain't. Because that would be like saying Adam is short. Adam's 6'4".
Yes, that is true. I am not short.
He's not short. I hate when people say that. No, he's not short.
Well, he looks short.
Keep in mind, they said my son is 6'5", 298, and he's too short to play tackle.
Hey. But anyway,
that's crazy.
Shout out to Steph. Keep it going. Can't wait till the next season. You should have been a Knick, but we'll get to that later. That's another podcast.
Help CP win, Steph. Help CP win one.
Man.
All right, D. Also, this past week, we talked about it a little bit last week with the Wimbledon, but the champions were crowned this past weekend, and there was actually somewhat of a surprise. Well, you know what? I don't know if you would consider that a surprise because he was actually still ranked number 3, or what was he 3 or 1?
Who? Alcaraz.
Alcaraz.
I think he was 1.
He's 1. Which, the only reason I'm confused is because Djokovic is usually always number 1. He always wins. But tell us what happened.
Joker was the 2 seed.
He was 2, and Alcaraz is 1.
Yeah.
Alcaraz, 21-year-old.
I think Alcaraz was no. No, I think somebody else was 1. I think you're right. I think Alcaraz may have been 3.
whatever the case, the brother 21, he 21, and actually won Wimbledon. Was it 4 sets or 5 sets?
5.
5 sets. Talk to us about that, Dorian.
Yeah. Well, I think the important thing about this, I knew Alcaraz was good. You know, the last tournament I watched him win. I said, oh yeah, this young dude is he a bad man. But Joker had won. First of all, he had won what 5 in a row, Wimbledon's. He had won 45 straight matches on center court. And Alcaraz came in. Well, he had to come back. It was a comeback win, but he had to come back and beat him. And we had that discussion before about whether Djokovic was the best player ever, whether he was the GOAT. So the fact that he was able to come back on him and beat him just shows you how good this kid is, and is going to continue to be. But the fact that Joker basically this is his court. He's won 8 Wimbledons, 5 in a row. And he came in and took it from him, So what can you say? Maybe we're starting to see a change. No Americans in the final, no Americans really anywhere. Now that Serena's gone, Coco Gauff lost early. We saw Madison Keys make it to the quarterfinals. My man Eubanks made it to the quarterfinals or whatever. But there are really no you don't really hear about too many, up and coming American tennis players right now. So, we used to, it is really weird, honestly, watching tournaments without Serena.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That is really weird.
Last week we told y'all about my miraculous tennis career.
Oh, God.
We have to hear about this again.
So,
the game nobody saw.
It was again just for the purpose of our audience. It was the greatest tennis match in the history of tennis. But since I retired, there's not a lot of male Americans that are doing well in tennis, and there needs to. I don't think we're putting as much emphasis on the men's tennis association.
You need to make a comeback.
But you know what? I'm trying to get out there with Steph.
He thought he was gonna slide that in. Since I retired.
Since I retired, man.
A lot of people was happy you retired.
No, seriously.
Including your feet.
Seriously. There's not. I don't know if we have as much emphasis on tennis as we used to do, as they used to. When you had people like the McEnroes, Patrick and you had Pete Sampras. Yeah, Patrick and John McEnroe, Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi.
Right.
At those times, the American men dominated tennis at that time.
Andy Roddick.
I don't even know
Andy Roddick. And the redhead dude. What was the redhead cat that was good for a while?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. He was winning a lot.
He was always going up against Nadal, and I'm trying to remember his name.
Well, whatever his name is. The point is,
I'll look it up.
We don't have a lot of men tennis players. Well, American men tennis players that are actually ranked. D, while you search it, see who is the highest ranked U.S. men tennis player. You might be going down the list quite some time before you actually find an American.
Jim Courier, that's his name.
Jim Courier.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, that's what I was thinking about. Okay,
hurry it up. Can he have a dead space? Can he have a dead space?
But we still could talk about tennis. Highest ranked American male tennis player. Okay, here we go.
And the answer
is? We got people I've never heard of. John Eisner.
Oh, yeah.
Taylor Fritz, Riley.
Where does Eisner rank? Where does Eisner rank?
TFO. It didn't say where they were. Wait, right. Hold on.
The reason I remember Eisner because he was involved in the longest tennis match.
Okay, so right now the men's singles rankings, they got Taylor Fritz at 9, Francis Tiafoe at 10, Tommy Paul at 14, Sebastian Korda at 28, Christopher Eubanks at 31. So that's what I'm looking at now. The men's ATP rankings.
The men's ATP. So who was the highest one?
Taylor Fritz is ranked 9, and Francis Tiafoe is 10.
ESPN is saying that he's after the tournament they went down. There is no Americans until you get to 23rd. Taylor Fritz got dropped down to 23rd according to ESPN.
Wow, that's quick because I just looked up. Okay, man, I don't know how current they are. Yeah,
where's Christopher Eubanks?
His second round loss, because he lost some points, dropped him all the way down to 23rd from number 9.
Do you see Christopher Eubanks? Where does he rank?
Let me take a look. 1 second. Christopher Eubanks.
He should have gone up after that Wimbledon performance.
Looks like 31.
Yeah, he went up to 31. He was 43. So yeah, he went up.
So that brings my point. We don't even have a top 20 U.S. men's tennis player. Flip that and go to the women. I mean, Coco the highest woman we have right now?
Let's see, current women's tennis rankings. Coco Gauff they got her at 7.
Okay. We gonna just say she had a bad tournament, but usually the women
lost in the first round. Madison Keys they got at 16.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really kind of it till you get down to like 39.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but even women's Wimbledon is interesting because it's the first time that an unseeded woman actually won Wimbledon. You know, Billie Jean King was actually unseeded the first time she went to Wimbledon and lost to Margaret Court. So, but an unseeded woman had never won.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you had the unseeded woman that won Wimbledon, Vondrousova.
That is Vondrousova beat what's her name? Jabeur.
Yeah.
Jabeur. Yeah. Jabeur. As D said, unseeded and won Wimbledon.
And she moved up to 10. She moved up 32 spots. Marketa Vondrousova moved up from 42 to 10. And Ons Jabeur moved up from she's at 6. She stayed the same at 6.
What I admire is that Naomi Osaka, even though she hasn't played in 18 months, is still ranked in the top 200. That girl, that's a bad girl.
Well, hopefully we'll see her return after the birth of her child, and hopefully she's got everything together mentally, and we can see her get back on the court because she was nice. She was nice to watch out on the court as well. Naomi Osaka was really good, is really good.
She got skills. Yeah. She could have been my partner also in those.
Oh God! All right. So moving out of tennis,
we wouldn't wish that on her. I was about to say something, but I want to be, kind to
moving out of tennis.
Hey man, y'all gonna respect my tennis career, man.
No.
Put some respect on my career.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
I'm gonna have to get hey, this is a call out for Tony Miller. Tony, I need you to come on this podcast so you can back me up about the greatest tennis game in the history of tennis.
He might have been wishing it was just over. He's wishing it was over faster.
As he said, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna let y'all know that I'm gonna do a special podcast just so I can tell y'all exactly what happened with graphics and everything, and might even recreate it.
Okay, so
like a cartoon.
What surface were you playing at?
Oh, you want to hear about it? Let me tell you what happened.
I just want to know surface.
Y'all saw him catch a Charlie horse just doing a podcast. What you think when he go out here and try to play some tennis?
I ain't saying I'm playing right now.
So I'm gonna recreate a tennis match.
Hey, all I do right now, I get out the cart, I hit the ball. I get back in the cart. That's about it.
Hey, D, this is a physically grueling podcast.
Exactly, man. Y'all have a brother running.
Pulling hamstrings.
Y'all have a brother running there. Y'all have a brother
running.
running.
Around in his chair too fast.
All right, so we're gonna move away from tennis and we're gonna get to our next topic of discussion, and that is this. You said today, D? Was it today?
Yeah, the tournament. Yeah, real quick, the Women's World Cup started today. For those who don't know, the U.S. women are favorite to win it all, favorite to win their third World Cup in a row, which would be a first for men or women's World Cup. But they play Vietnam in their group. They play tomorrow. It's either tomorrow or this evening. I can't remember. But the two host countries have already won their first matches. Australia won. New Zealand won their first matches. But like I said, the U.S. hasn't played yet. But they play Vietnam. So I'll be watching. I'll certainly be watching.
The women's tennis team our women's tennis team is just great. They are great, and usually
I thought we was talking about soccer.
Shut up! Just shut it up. Matter of fact, hold up. But you lucky?
Did you play against any women when you played, right?
You lucky I can't find it.
Hey, how about a little less questions and a little more shut the hell up?
Doran. Now let me. I told you there's a thing called editing that will occur on this thing right now. Anyway, getting back to what I was talking about before Dorian so rudely interrupted me. Our women's soccer team is just great, right? Mm-hmm. They are fun to watch. Unlike most soccer matches where you might get 1-2 goals if you're lucky, they be coming out with 7-8 goals, just killing, which makes it so much more exciting when you see them scoring as many goals as they do. Unlike our men, but I do want to say one quick thing to all the idiots out there that think it's okay to just go to an event and just start randomly shooting at people. We got to quit with that. We got to quit with that. It's unnecessary. Prayers out to all those that are affected. I'm hoping it doesn't affect this tournament, that the World Cup can continue to go off without any further hitches. But I mean, that's we ain't gonna talk about politics, but
societal issue.
Yeah. But again, prayers to them. We always want to, when a situation comes up, we'll mention it. We might not talk about it at that particular time, but we're gonna mention it. Just so y'all know that we thinking about it. But we know what this is. This is a sports podcast, and we want to try to keep it as much about sports as possible. But every now and then people just do stupid stuff that you just have to call out. Yeah, you just have to call them out, man. So anyway, that's about the Women's World Cup. We going quick tonight, y'all.
We get it, man. I get to go to sleep tonight.
Man, bro, we get to go to sleep early tonight, dudes. All right, so also last week we were talking about the WNBA All-Star game coming up. Well, now it just happened. And during the festivities, we had a record-breaking performance by Sabrina Ionescu, however you say her name. Ionescu from the New York Liberty. Go ahead, Dorian, talk to me about it.
She broke 3-point contest, broke the record, 37 points.
And whose record did she break?
Steph Curry's. The game itself was a snoozer. After the first quarter was close. The end of the first quarter was 29-27, Team Stewart. But then after that, it just really went downhill. It just turned into a snoozer. And Team Stewart
had a couple of Brittany Griner dunks early, and that's about it.
Yeah, that was about it. Yeah, and she only had 13.
The thing I didn't like about the All-Star team, All-Star game, is they made the WNBA All-Star game just like the NBA All-Star game.
Yeah.
No defense. And that's again one of the things that we talked about in previous episodes is the fact that we enjoy the WNBA because they still play basketball.
Mm-hmm.
They play team basketball. They pass the ball. They set picks. Shoot the mid-range shot. It's not all about running down the court trying to dunk this, that, and the other, and shooting 3-pointers all over the place. They actually play team basketball. They didn't do it in the All-Star game.
Instead of laying down and not playing defense.
Exactly. They were allowing layups left and right. We said Brittany Griner got 2 dunks because nobody would even come close to her. They were the easiest 2 dunks in the history of basketball. But all in all, I mean, I don't understand it. They claim they don't want to get their players hurt, but to me, by not playing hard, you run a more of risk getting hurt than playing hard.
Mm-hmm. Because you're doing unnatural movements to prevent injury instead of just the natural movements that you when you play basketball.
Exactly.
Only person I saw going full speed was Chelsea Gray, the point guard for the Aces, and I think she realized exactly what you're saying. Like, I can't take off because I might hurt myself. Asia Wilson was doing a little bit as well, but there was only certain players that was going full speed. Otherwise, it was just nothing. It was just a shoot off and a dunk off.
Mm-hmm.
NBA, it was boring.
Right, it really was.
Which again,
I like the skills competition.
Which is the best part about the whole All-Star weekend, both men and women.
Right.
It's a skills competition, except dunk contest, because dunk contest sucks right now. But I mean, the NBA and the WNBA now really need to look at that because it's not a good display of your product. NBA, you got 185 to 180. That's not basketball.
I mean, it's not going to hurt you to compete. You don't have to, injure somebody in order to compete.
Right. And you go again. My issue, which goes to the summer league, also. They're going to play ball anyway, right? Mm-hmm. In the summer league, we're going to start talking about summer league right now. So let me take this off. It wasn't on our agenda, but we're going to talk about it. But in the summer league, go ahead, dudes.
Yeah, I was going to say also. I mean, think about the history of the All-Star game. There haven't been very many, major injuries in an All-Star game.
Right.
I think Kobe broke his nose, and Larry Bird had a broken nose, and I think that's probably about it that I can remember.
Right. The only injury I remember in any All-Star game was when the New England running back hurt himself. He tore his knee when they were playing sand football.
Yes, playing flag football,
flag football on the sand, which was like a stupid idea in the first place. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why they would think about that, but I think that was a good idea. But that's really the only player that I can remember that actually got seriously hurt. You're right, dudes. Don't nobody get hurt in the All-Star game, and they were playing.
They were actually competing and playing hard.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go all out, but don't just not play at all. Because again, as a fan, if I'm paying $500 a ticket to go watch an All-Star game, and this is the product y'all giving me, I'm gonna
watching my favorite players stand around.
Yeah, I'm gonna need my money back. Because that's not something I want to see. And going to the summer league was just wrapped up the other day. Cleveland beat Houston in the championship game. Pretty nice game. Seeing those guys compete, they were competing because they're fighting for spots on these teams. But the issue that I have is teams that put their players out there, like these first round draft picks, for 2 games. It's 5 games in the summer league. Why do you allow them to play 2 games? And the theory is, we're trying to prevent them from being hurt. That's fine, but they're going to go and play basketball, play pickup games for the rest of the summer. You're not going to stop them then. I would rather you allow them to play now in something that's sanctioned by the NBA than have them go out to Lifetime Fitness playing basketball against some other players that you never heard of. So
exactly. And do you think the player that you just drafted that you thought so highly of is that fragile where he can't play 3 more games of basketball?
Exactly.
But
then how
you're paying him to play 82 games a whole regular season?
Well, and then how much hypocrisy is it that you'll do that during the summer league, but then now all of a sudden you put it into your collective bargaining agreement that you're not going to do that during the season, as far as load management and holding players out and so on and so forth. So you're contradicting yourself by only letting the player play 2 games, in the summer league. But then all of a sudden you get to the season and now all of a sudden they got to play all those games. Well, now they're not conditioned because you didn't let them play, so it's a lot of hypocrisy going on.
And then they're rookies. So you want them to get some experience under their belt, playing against, NBA talent, or, not necessarily, veteran NBA talent, but, a step up higher than college, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, you want them to get a little experience before the season starts.
So
the only one that looked ready was Victor, and they shut him down after 2 games. And it's like, he was just playing professional basketball. You can't do that going 80 miles an hour and then stop a person from doing that. Like, he's gonna get hurt, unfortunately. I really hope they see that you can't do that to athletes. He's the only one that was in shape, who was playing against really good, decent competition. Dropped 33 in the second game. First game, I think he was just a little nervous, but 33 in the second game, it was like, okay, we're done. No, you can't do that to an athlete.
Exactly. Now, the question I had was, is he playing in the World Cup?
No, they shut him down. They shut him down.
Okay, well, yeah, it's no excuse for them to shut him down after 2 games then.
Yeah. But the thing is, you had all of the rookies, all of the first round draft picks. They let the second rounders play because they don't care about the second rounders and the undrafted. They just let them go out there and play. But your first round picks, they shut them down. Mm-hmm. The Pistons, the twin, Asar. He had Thompson. He had he started off, kind of hesitant because they had some of the last year's rookies on the team. Mm-hmm. So he was kind of deferring to them. They shut them down after 1 game. So then 2, 3, and 4 games, 2, 3, and 4, where he actually got time. He was actually one of the distributors of the ball or whatever, the featured players. The brother was balling. I mean, he was balling, and you started to see what it is that they saw in him to want to draft him. He was actually doing well, and then what they do? They shut him down. They shut him down when they actually had a chance. They had a chance to go to the playoffs, but they shut him down. I'm like, what's the point? If all you're doing is putting the team in the summer league, if you don't care about winning, I mean, every time you go out and play basketball, I don't care what it is. If it's in practice, summer league, in the season, whatever, you should have the desire to win that game. I don't care what it is, and you should put your best players on the out there. I mean, I know you're not going to have your veterans out there. I'm not telling you to put your veterans out there, but these rookie players, these first and second year players that need the practice, they need the reps. Mm-hmm. How are you gonna know if they can play if you don't give them the reps? Allow them to play. Put some
introduce them into some of the sets.
Exactly. So now Cleveland won, and even Houston. The fact that they were playing for the championship. Now those guys know what it's like to be in somewhat pressure game in the NBA because they're playing for a championship. They did the things that the other team should have done. They put emphasis on the teams playing defense, passing the ball. They did all these things, and all that's going to do is move over into the regular season with them having more experience doing this stuff. So that's my issue with the summer league. Yeah, well, I had to vent on that for a minute because it kind of.
No, I agree with you. I see because the thing is too is what's the point of letting them play at all then?
Exactly.
If if you're putting them, if the whole point of having them come play in the summer league, it's two things about this that bother me. If the whole point of having them come and play in the summer league is supposed to get them ready for the NBA or whatever, then you mean only 2 games is supposed to do that? That's it. 2 games. Okay, well, yeah, you ready. Well, I thought you knew that when you drafted them. So what's the point of having them play in the summer league? That doesn't make any sense. And secondly, look what you're doing to the fans, which is the whole point that they were railing against load management during the season, is because you don't think them people that bought tickets to come see San Antonio wasn't coming to see Victor Wembanyama. That's who they were coming to see. So, but then you shut him down after 2 games. Well, what about them? Now, again, it's not like the tickets were expensive for the summer league games. I heard that they're not expensive at all. But still, that's beside the point. It's principalities involved here, Smokey. So you're gonna have them pay, and then they're not gonna be able to see the player that they came to play. Because as we said before, we don't know who none of these other players are anyway. So of course we coming to see Wembanyama. We coming to see the big name players that we know, but then they play a game, 2 games, and then they're not playing anymore. Well, I just wasted my money.
And you had and again, if you hurt, don't go out there and play. If you injured, don't I don't want you out there playing. But my shoulder sore. I got a sore shoulder, so Scoot not gonna play no more. Folks come out there to watch Scoot, man. We want to see this brother play.
That was literally just an excuse. I mean, like they even said, now this is kind of true, but if you watch the Twins, some of their game, they were making stupid turnovers and passes because they're just used to having the other one there. So the coach was like, well, we shut them down so they can learn the playbook a little bit. And I was like, I don't think that's true. I mean,
the best way to learn it is by experience. Get out there, get the reps.
It's like, I don't believe you. I think you just want to protect your asset, which is fine, and you shut it down. Scoot, same thing. I mean, we want to see if he's a Dame replacement. We saw 1.5 games. From what I can tell, I have no idea what this man can do other than his Ignite footage. We don't really know. So how are we going to get this this accurate picture here of a player if we're not seeing what we can see? Because I know not many people get Ignite games, right? So I guarantee there's a lot of people that haven't seen this man. This is what we got working with us, and we can't see it. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, all we see is the highlights. That's about it.
What they want us to see, right?
And that's edited. Yeah.
The thing is, this is just like load management. This is a more recent phenomenon. It used to be like 4 or 5 years ago that all of the draft picks would be in the summer league, and that's what people wanted to see. That's the reason why they have the summer league on ESPN, on NBA TV, because people were interested in seeing these players play. But now, if I'm ESPN, if I'm NBA TV, I'm pissed.
I'm not paying for that crap.
Exactly. You're not giving me the product that I'm expecting to play, because what's going to happen? Bro, I'm telling you, when I look on and I see that such and such is not playing, I'm not watching that game. I'll find something else to watch. But if he was playing, I'll sit there and watch it. So as a fan, and again, we talking summer league. I understand it's summer league, but still, the point is the same. Right. If they're not playing, I'm not watching. And if I'm not watching, the TV networks should be upset about this and say, hey, look, if y'all ain't gonna put this product out there, then we need to talk about these numbers.
Exactly.
Right.
So
I've been trying to see what they said. Chet Holmgren's back. He recovered from his injury. I haven't seen him play.
Oh, Chet was balling.
He played great.
He played great, but I mean, as in like, can you?
But guess what they did?
They shut him down. That's what I mean. I haven't seen him.
Shut him down. Shut him down. Shut him down.
So it's
shut him down.
You could be injured or injury prone, and you could look really good for a game or two, but then when the season comes and you still got the same hitch in your step that you had when you got injured, that's not a good idea. That's not a good idea to put you out on the floor.
And just like we talk about load management, I just don't understand not playing guys because you think they may or may not get injured. I mean,
Right.
you're paid to play.
Right.
Now, if I see any of these guys, in the Drew League, I'm laughing because the NBA is stupid. The NBA is going to be dumb. They cannot stop them. But at the same time, if these players are going out and playing in the Drew to get some actual competition, hey, I'm gonna watch that instead.
But what's funny is they will. You're gonna find these players out there playing in the Drew League.
Oh yeah, they're gonna play because they love to play.
Isn't that where Chet got hurt in the first place?
Yeah. In the Drew League. He's coming back to Minnesota to do our summer league here. Because Tyus Jones is from here too, so they got a couple teams, and he's gonna come out here and play. Can't stop you, It is what it is.
Like I said, they're gonna be out here playing anyway.
Right.
If you go, I would rather you play in something that I have control over than in something that I don't. But I done messed up our order, so I'm gonna keep going with the NBA.
Actually, just keep rolling with the NBA. We can go to.
I'm gonna keep going with the NBA. So the next topic for the third straight week is about your boy James Harden. So as of today, James is still a member of the Philadelphia 76ers. And truthfully, his option's not looking that well. There's not a lot of teams, one, that actually want James Harden at the number that he wants, and two, that's willing to give up the type of assets that Philadelphia wants. So they're in somewhat of a staring contest because, well, one thing that we do know is James Harden like his money. James Harden loves his money, and he is not going to sit out a season so he can't get his money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he loved the scrippers too,
and he loved the scrippers too. He loved the scrippers. Dudes, you my resident NBA. What do you foresee happening with your boy James? And before you start, he is not coming to the Knicks. Go.
He already knew it. You can tell me he knows me too well. Because I knew he was about to leave with that. He took my joke. It's gone now.
I had to stop you.
But that's what I wish on you. I do wish that he goes to the Knicks for you. But I think Harden's put himself in quite a bit of a quandary because this is the third team that he's quit on. And I don't really think a team is going to take a chance on him, at that price for a player that, consistently quits on his teams, teammates. He'll, get the little fat suit thing, let himself get fat. Kind of look like a couple people on this podcast, but I won't say their names.
You must
I've been working out a little bit lately.
Quadrant 2 and Quadrant 4.
But I don't know if Rodney has his fat suit on or what.
Oh, nah, bro. Look at all this. Oh, I'm nice and trim right now, bro. I'm nice and trim.
Yes, sir. Say friends.
Yeah, I think he's got like some what you call the camera tricks. What do you call it?
Some one of the filters.
Yeah, to make himself skinny.
That
but yeah, I don't foresee any teams taking that chance on Harden. I know he's talking about going to the Clippers, but after their experience with the Kawhi and Paul George experience, dealing with them being constantly injured, and now to risk it all on a player that's, just going to quit on you. He's going to do it because that's just who he is. When things don't go his way. I don't know exactly what the real problem is in Philly because, it was the team was his and Joel Embiid, and then he has Morey there. So Morey's pretty much, giving him the keys to the city, and he's still unhappy. So that lets me know that he's not capable of being happy. And so this is going to be a problem no matter where he goes. The problem is going to travel with him because no matter where you go, there you are.
Right. I don't see, and then it doesn't, for me, it doesn't make sense to go to the Clippers. What is he trying to go to the Clippers to play with Paul George and Kawhi?
That's the plan.
Because I mean, they the same player, except at least two of them play defense,
and they got Russ too now.
Right, Paul George and Kawhi gonna play defense. Well, Russ gonna be coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you got basically they all the same height. What 6'6", 6'7".
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't compliment them in any way.
Mm-mm.
If you gonna go there, you should be a compliment. And the thing is okay. I think about when LeBron went to Miami from Cleveland, and hearing an interview with Bosch and Dwayne Wade later. And this is the same conversation we had about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, is that the three of them sat down and talked about, okay, who's going to be who?
Mm-hmm.
And Bosch was like, okay, well, I realize that I need to be third. I'm the third tier. It's going to go LeBron, D-Wade, then me.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that decision going to be made with the Clippers? Because we see that Harden wants to be that number one dude. He wants to be the cat that always has the ball and it always takes the shot, even if it's a bad shot and even if he travels when he takes it. He wants to be the person to take that shot and to be. But then also Kawhi and also Paul George, you don't want to be that. Now it's going to be interesting. Now you got two players. They talk about playoff Paul George. What, for real?
Playoff
Playoff P.
So now you got two of these players on your same team that neither one of them show up in the playoffs, Harden or Paul George. So I just wonder how that dynamic would work. I personally don't see that dynamic working and why he would want to go to the Clippers. They would have to sacrifice somebody in order to get him to the Clippers. I don't see that working. For me, his best chance to win is really in Philly. He just has to change his game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be. I only need you to score 50 sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
When need be.
Right. I need you to be the facilitator. When he did that, he led the league in assists. So it's like, why do you refuse to play that role? Why do you refuse to play that role when it's the one that's going to get you the championship that you claim you actually want?
All right, new guy.
I mean, I had to Google real quick. Out of the two series that he had, Brooklyn and Boston, he scored 21 game 3, 23 game 4, and then fell off a cliff like he usually does. Had 45 in game 1, 42 in game 3 in overtime. But then again, fell off again. 4 of 8, 4 for 16, 3 for 11 in the deciding game. He had 9 points. You don't deserve $38 million. I'm sorry, you just don't.
That's the norm.
And this is just playoff stats. I mean, like, we know he's does not play defense. He's a liability without the ball. He's a liability with the ball. I can't see that. And no team has assets. Let's be clear. We're looking at the summer of 2025 when Bronny comes out and whoever has that has a max space for LeBron. That's why everybody signed 2-year deals or 1-and-1 with a player option. We know what's coming. There is no team that's willing to risk it all for a maybe James Harden when they know they can get LeBron. It's just not going to happen.
In a fat suit.
Right.
So the thing was, again, the one thing, Harden is not going to give up his money. He had the opportunity to go to whatever teim he wanted to go to. Whoever he wanted to go to, he had that choice. But when him and his agent, put out the feelers like they do, and he realized it ain't a whole lot of teams out here that want to pay me. The big rumor was, he's going to Houston. He's going to Houston. He's going to Houston. Everybody was saying that, but Houston. We want James Harden back because again, that was the stupidest rumor I ever heard. Because
exactly,
you got a young team,
a youth movement,
a young impressionable team that need they need direction. If they had direction, they would be actually pretty good. And I think that Van Vliet is actually going to give them that direction that they need. Mm-hmm. But this is a team that needs direction, needs leadership. And one thing you cannot say about James Harden is that he's a leader. Mm-mm. He is nowhere close to a leader. James Harden only concerned about his 15 shots and how many points he gonna have every game. That's the only thing.
15 strippers.
He gonna lead them straight to the strip club. He know the directions there. That's why he want to go back to Houston.
Right. Follow me, guys.
and then for the thing about the Clippers. Here's the thing about the Clippers, which doesn't make sense whatsoever. The Clippers don't want to pay him. They want to trade for him right now, right? Mm-hmm. They will trade for him. They're like, cool. We want to take this asset. We'll take him, but they're not willing to extend that contract. Mm-hmm. But if I'm only getting them for 1 year, I'm not giving you 3 first-round draft picks and Terrence Mann and the other rookie that they have. I'm not giving you all that. Sorry, he's a rental. I have no idea if this is even going to work. I might try it. What do I have to lose?
I thought they belonged to Oklahoma City till like 2030. I'm pretty sure.
They're trying to get some first round. But see, here's the thing. That's what Morey wants.
Yeah.
Daryl Morey wants this crazy boatload of stuff that he's not getting. Nobody, especially not my Knicks, is trying to give them anything for James Harden. They'll give you a couple of second-round draft picks. Why not? You know, if I can get Harden to come over, seriously, if I can get Harden to come to the Knicks and all I'm giving up is Fournier and some second-round draft picks, some stuff that I have no desire to have in the first place, okay, cool. I'll take that gamble, but I'm not giving you no contract extension. I'm gonna take you, and I can actually cut you at any time and not be out of anything. So I'm good with that. But I'm not giving up, meaningful assets to get James Harden. I'm just not.
And I think his actual issue is with Morey. Saying that Harden took that pay cut last year for the team. Thinking they're going to take care of him on the back end this year. And it didn't happen because I believe, Morey saw, what the market was for Harden. That nobody else was willing to pay him that much. So, why should I?
Why should I? Right.
And it was a smart business move on Morey's part.
It's a smart business
move. Harden took it personally because I see no other reason for him to be upset about playing in Philly.
He takes everything personal.
It's business.
The thing about it, and D just said it a minute ago, I have zero confidence whatsoever that James Harden actually is concerned about winning.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't think for 1 minute that's like the number one thing on it. I only think it's number 5 on his list of things that he's concerned about when it comes to basketball. And that should be your number one objective.
If you look at him in those games where he bottoms out, like the last games of the series where he's bottoming. He looks so disinterested.
Where Philly had a 3-1 lead and he just decided to go on vacation early.
Yeah, he'll score like 6 points or 9 points, but he doesn't even shoot. He looks like he's not even interested in playing. Like he'd rather be anywhere else, and I just can't see myself paying for that. No.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you would rather be somewhere else than where you are, and y'all won 2 playoff series, you don't want to win. Mm-hmm. If you talking about going back to Houston, they were one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, because they're not going to win.
Right, they're not about to win. They're not going to the playoffs, and you are not going to be the person to take them over the top and lead them to the playoffs. You can, if you're a good enough basketball player as he's supposed to be, you should be able to look at what's there and know whether or not that is a winning situation. It's not a winning situation. You got a bunch of rookies, and you even got he's not a rookie, but you got a rookie head coach, a rookie with that team. So he's still got to shape the team. The team has no identity, no nothing, but a bunch of rookies. And then you going to go there, man, come on, stop. You really don't want to win. Mm-hmm. Like you said, the fact that you could have gone any place you wanted to go. So you could have gone to a winner. They weren't going to give you $38 million, but you could have gone to a winner. You already have made hundreds of millions of dollars. Go, if you want to win, go to some place that's going to give you something. They may only give you 20 million a year or something of that nature, but go there and win. If that's really what you want.
The thing is, if you win, then the money gonna come.
Yeah.
If you win, the money gonna come. But see,
the winner will take care of everything.
All them hundreds of millions that he actually made is probably down in them strip clubs in Houston.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
that's why he want to go, so he can try to get them back.
he made it rain quite a bit. He
turns 34 this year, and this might be his last contract. He wants a Steph contract, but he's not putting up Steph numbers, and that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it, and you're right about that, the next year when he's a free agent again, he's actual free agent, he's going to realize that the most that he might get is going to be a mid-level exception, and that's the absolute most.
Yeah,
so he's going to have to understand these $30-40 million contracts are a thing of the past, because truth be told, James Harden has not been James Harden for the last 3 years.
At least.
Yep.
And when the NBA changed the rules, when they changed those rules, that affected him. He couldn't go and do all the stuff that he used to do, get all them flailing, whatever, the shots that he just
flopping and flailing,
He couldn't do all that stuff. So now he went from averaging 30-something points a game to 18, 19, barely getting 20. He's done.
Like that.
He's done, son.
He is done. So next year, when he has the opportunity to become a free agent and reality was set in, next year he'll be what, 35?
He'll be with the Knicks.
He'll be 34, and then
he's 33 now.
He's 33, but he's going to be turning 34. By the time he's done with his contract, he should be right around 35.
So, 34, he'll be 35 next year?
Yeah.
Nobody's paying $40 million for a 35-year-old shooting guard that can not. If there's one player in the NBA that jumps lower than me, it's James Harden. So, hey.
LeBron is still the only person who can get, at 41 or almost 40, can demand a $30 million contract, and they'll be like, okay.
You know what? I'm starting to think that Adam is a LeBron James fan.
Absolutely.
That's good.
I'm starting to think that Adam's
things out a bit.
Invited LeBron James fan on this podcast.
I am.
And things out a little bit in here. That makes things a lot interesting.
No, man.
A lot more interesting.
Give me a minute, but I see the light.
No, man. Unbelievable.
Just saying.
Unbelievable. All right, so we're going to get off James Harden. But we are going to talk about the next signing this week. And that is one Miles Bridges, who just signed a contract after missing last year, due to a technicality.
A technicality.
A flagrant foul at the house.
He had a little bit of a
in-home flagrant foul. Look like
little flagrant foul going on. No, seriously. Miles Bridges, the forward for the Charlotte Hornets, re-signed with the Hornets this year, 1 year, $7.9 million. He was actually a restricted free agent last year. That was one of the most coveted free agents on the market. Mm-hmm. He was in line to get, if not max, close to max money last year. And max money for him would have been like $30-35 million per year for either 4 or 5 years, depending on if he signed back with Charlotte or if he signed with a different team. But something happened on the way to him signing that contract.
To the bag.
He decided that he just wanted to postpone his bag 1 year and act stupid like a lot of these players do, and have a little domestic violence issue with is it his wife or his girlfriend? I think it's his girlfriend.
Yeah, I think it's his wife.
It was his wife?
Let's check.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm not sure if it was his wife. I know that she was the mother of his children.
She is the mother of his children.
She's the mother of his children. I'm not sure if it's
whatever the case. It doesn't really matter whether she was his wife or not. He had no business putting his hands on her.
Now this one article I see here says his wife.
Okay. So again, whatever the situation, he had no business putting his hands on his wife. And because of that, the consequences that he suffered is probably losing upwards of $125 million, which can hurt any person. But even with that, I am one of the people that believe in redemption. I don't think anybody should be cast off for making an error, no matter what the error is. Is it a bad error? Yes. You suffer your consequences. You accept the responsibility. You deal with it, but you should not be cast off and never be able to, make a living again. I am not of the ones that say, something happens, you should never play basketball. It's a privilege to play basketball. No, it's a job. That's what he's been training for all his life. So I am one, again, this is my opinion. I'm one of the ones that believe in redemption. He did do all of the things that the NBA asked him to do. He did the training that the NBA and the courts required him to do. He did all the training. They went to counseling. I don't know if they're still together, but whatever the case, it doesn't really matter. But he did the things that he needed to do in order to get this opportunity. And I'm not going to begrudge him this opportunity. The scrutiny that comes with it, that's just something you got to take, bro.
You made your bed.
You put yourself in this position. That's something you got to take. But the NBA, they suspended him for 50 games, but they gave him credit for 30 games for being out last year. So this year, he's only going to be out for 20 games. So, of course, he's going to miss 20 game checks out of that $7.9 million, but he's still going to make his money. He got a whole lot more money than we do. So at the end of the day, he's still doing well. But Miles Bridges is back in Charlotte. Mr. New Guy, what you think about that?
I don't know yet because we haven't seen him in a year, right? Did he keep in shape? Did he do the things that he was supposed to do? 7.9, it's nothing to snooze at. It's really giving like Dennis Schroeder, Dennis Schroeder did a little something different where he bet on himself and bet wrong, but this deal is giving me that. And my fear is that, he's at a point in his career now where this matters, right? And I don't want him to be that guy now to have the $7 million here with Charlotte, and then $4 million with the Timberwolves, and then $2 million with the Clippers, and then $6 million with the Mavericks, and he's like hopping teams every year. I don't want that for him. He's a good player. You're right. He made a terrible mistake, and I hope that this prove it year will get him back on track, but I really don't want him to bounce around the league. I think he's good enough to be a starter somewhere. So let's see what happens.
Pookie Dudes.
Well, ever since they picked up LaMelo Ball, I kind of fell in love with Charlotte. So that's been my team, my other team. And I've been watching like all their games, and he and LaMelo, they developed this, great chemistry. And, I felt like they're going to be the next up and coming team. Going into that free agency, he bet on himself going into that free agency that, he would, he waited to, become a free agent, and he's going to sign that big deal. And, he played great that year. He stepped up. He was up for the most improved player award and all that stuff. And he just fumbled the bag at the 11th hour. It's horrible what he did.
11:59.
Exactly. But like Rod said, I think it's a great thing that, he has a chance to redeem himself, and, make things right. And he's, met all his objectives to get up to this point. And I'm looking forward to watching him and LaMelo get back together. With Brandon Miller. Hopefully, Brandon Miller, is a great addition to what Charlotte has going on. And I'm looking forward to seeing Miles again. I think he's a very good player. And so, as long as he picks up where he left off, everything will be good. Charlotte, and they'll do a lot better than what they did last year. Because Lord, they look bad.
Professor?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's obviously a good player. He wasn't gonna get the bag. Again, like we said, he screwed it up. I refuse to say it was an error or it was a mistake. He did that on purpose. That wasn't no mistake. When you break somebody's nose and bruise their ribs, you intended to do that. You intended to hurt that woman. So he was punished, deservedly so. I've always been one, we've had this conversation a number of times of where, I can't stand, I would love to have an argument with somebody that always wants to say that these guys should never be able to play football. They should never be able to do that again. I only wish somebody like Ray Rice would have gotten the opportunity to redeem himself. So I hope he doesn't fumble the bag again. Hopefully he's learned his lesson. He went through all the therapy and all those things. Like you said, I'm just, kind of, piggybacking or repeating, what you all said, because I completely agree. And I also think, agree with dudes too. I think the team is going to be much better and they're going to be fun to watch, because Brandon Miller started looking pretty good because he was able to play more games
until they shut him down
in the summer league than everybody else. He started looking a whole lot better. So I think Charlotte is going to be a fun team to watch. I'll be watching them on my app this year for sure. So just because I like the uniforms.
So Dorian, you said you wanted the people that you want to say something to people that say that these players shouldn't play. So do you believe in the redemption, that players can be redeemed?
Yeah, I think for certain. I think my problem with the statement when people say that kind of stuff is when people say dumb stuff like, "Oh, it's a privilege to play in the NBA." Okay, well then why ain't your self-righteous ass playing? Because it's not about that. It's about skill. It's about being 6'7". I can be the greatest dude. I can be the greatest dude ever. That don't mean I'm gonna be a good NBA player. So it's not a privilege to play. They worked hard. They have the skill. They earned the right to be able to play there. And for the most part, it really had nothing to do, quote unquote, with behavior, so to speak, right? So I hate when people say that. And then what it also says to me is if you say, okay, well, they shouldn't be allowed to play in the NBA. Okay, well, then what is it they should be allowed to do? So you're saying it's okay to be an abuser working at Walmart. It's just not okay to be an abuser who makes millions of dollars. The argument always doesn't sit well with me when people say that kind of stuff. So that's why I say I'll argue with anybody who says that any day. Why is it that there are certain other people who deserve redemption, or that we look the other way for, again, not getting into politics, that we look the other way for when it comes to their particular transgressions.
You talking about Hunter Biden's laptop?
Yeah. But other than that, but more often than not, when it comes to these black men playing these sports, and they have a transgression, then all of a sudden they should be canceled, right? But we'll allow these other people, right? As my office mate used to always say, we allow other people, to have to make those same transgressions, and then we make excuses for them. But we don't get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to people who look like us. So yeah, I have a major problem with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've heard this argument several times. We've had this discussion several times, and I just needed him to say it for y'all, because I think it's like one of the most provocative things he's ever said, and I don't give him that compliment often. But
I'll just put it this way: if Cristiano Ronaldo can go around sexually assaulting people and still continue to make billions in soccer, yes, we'll get an opportunity to make their case for redemption. That you guys mentioned Ray Rice. He did get an opportunity. He just couldn't still. He was already averaging 4.5 yards a carry, which is great. But they needed him to get 6, and he couldn't do that. So I think that's kind of why he continued to fall off or no, sorry, 3.4 yards a carry. And I think that's why he continued to like stay out of the league because he just wasn't productive. Had he been productive, I think Ray Rice would have got his chance.
Yeah, that's another topic because at the end of the day, it's with anything. If you have value to me, then I can overlook some stuff. But if there's no value, if you don't bring value to me, then I'm not going to bring you and all your baggage with you. Right, so in this particular case, as has been said, the brother can play. Miles Bridges is a great basketball player.
And low key, I mean, they love him in Charlotte. So I never saw him going anywhere else. If he came back, I knew Charlotte was going to bring him back because they love him in Charlotte, and he loves it too. So, and
again, at the end of the day, again, as horrible as what transpired, at the end of the day, you do not want to cancel someone for having one moment where they just were stupid. And again, now if this was a habitual thing, if this was something that we heard over and over and over again, and this is what he did or whatever, then I would have no sympathy for him. Right. But again, I don't know all the facts, but from the facts that I've gathered from reading and watching TV since this occurred, this is like his first time ever having any kind of situation like this. So because of that, again, as horrendous as it is, let the brother serve his penance and then allow him to move forward, and that's all I got to say about that. So again, he's back, and we'll just look. I know Dude's gonna give us updates all season about what Charlotte doing. And then our next topic. Now this topic here is an interesting topic. It's one that Brother D brought to me yesterday, as a matter of fact, and we had some discussion about it. And it's the new phenomenon. Let's just say that is people deciding they want to have a podcast to rival this wonderful podcast that we have.
Draymond calls it the new media.
Yeah, often imitated, never duplicated. They can't come close to us. But there's some people that I'll go out there and try. And some of the people that try are current athletes that have current players that have podcasts. And with a podcast, as you know, by always listening to and watching our wonderful podcast,
hit the like button, subscribe.
We are wonderful.
We do say whatever it is that comes to our mind about these subjects. We don't have a filter. Whatever we want to talk about, that's what we talk about. And that also happens in a lot of these podcasts that these players have. So the question that Dorian posed to me is: should current players have podcasts? Should they be allowed to have these podcasts? Dorian, I'm gonna let you start since you broached it in the first place. Go ahead and give your opinion.
So speaking of Draymond, this is what brought this up. Okay, this is what made me think about this. So Dudes has sent us a clip of it was Gilbert Arenas, Rashad McCants. I forgot who was the other. It's
Brandon Jennings.
Brandon Jennings, and it's Marcus Johnson's son, isn't it?
Yeah, Marcus Johnson's son.
Yeah, they do a podcast, and so supposedly what happened is they were talking about a tweet that Jordan Poole's father sent out about the Draymond Jordan Poole incident. But with Rodney doing a little bit of research, we found out that this all came from Draymond being on Pat Bev's podcast, and Pat Bev asking him why he punched Jordan Poole. Now, Draymond didn't go into details. He didn't, he unequivocally basically just said, hey, he said something that you should never say to another man. I think something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it, right? But then Jordan Poole's father decides to chime in on Twitter. We had this conversation about whether fathers should. We kind of had the same conversation they were having on the podcast about whether fathers should be involved in this. But what it made me think about was, well, should current players have a podcast? Because think about this: is that if Draymond goes on here now, Pat Bev trying to be Pat Bev, he's trying to be this instigator that he's become over the last several years. So he's trying to say something.
His skills have eroded.
He's trying to provoke Draymond to saying something. So now you got these current players who are going on these podcasts, and because conflict now has become such a big deal, well, now they want to start conflict on these podcasts to get people to watch their podcasts. Well, then these are things that can leak out onto the field and leak out onto the court. So now what happens the next time Jordan Poole and Draymond meet? So now what happens is that everybody's going to be paying attention to, are they going to shake hands before the tip off? Well, what's going to be the reaction if Jordan Poole fouls Draymond? Now you put all eyes on that kind of thing. And it's not necessarily, I'm not necessarily saying that it wouldn't have been there before, but now there's going to be more attention. That causes tension on the court. So now where they had a fight a year ago, I don't know how much of a fight it was, but where they had an altercation a year ago, well, now this kind of stuff can lead to more altercations and so on and so forth on the court because you have these tensions between players. Now, I'm not saying anything about former players. I love all the smoke. I love, JJ Redick's podcast. I love those things. I don't have a problem with former players. I'm talking about if you are currently in the league, currently under contract, I think it's very problematic for you to have this type of podcast where you're having different guests and so on and so forth on your podcast who are also current players in the league. I think that it's problematic. And I don't know how because this is new. So I wonder at some point how leagues are going to start handling this kind of thing with players having these podcasts, and so on and so forth. Even how coaches are going to start handling this when they start on it, because they're on these podcasts talking about how they play certain players and that kind of stuff. So I don't know how long this is actually going to last. And for me right now, if you're a current player in the league, in any of these leagues, I don't think you should have a podcast. I don't think it's a good idea for you to have a podcast. Whether they ban them or not, I don't know. But I don't think it's a good idea for those reasons.
Pookie Dudes?
Well, the two podcasts like I normally watch the current players or
other than this wonderful Blame It on the Boogie podcast? Go ahead.
Well, I say current players. I mean, y'all ain't no current players.
I'm a current tennis player.
Well, yeah, you might still be playing tennis, just like the other game that we never saw, that other match we never saw. It might be some matches going on right now that we're not privy to. Thank God. But but yeah, I've seen Pat Bev's podcast. I wasn't really fond of that. He mostly, he gets like emotional and not emotional, personal. Because he was talking about Chris Paul, and he was talking about how he thought Chris Paul wasn't a good player, and he's definitely not a Hall of Famer, and that he was way better than Chris Paul, and he started saying all this negative stuff, and I'm like, okay, right, he just canceled himself right there, as far as credibility goes. And then Draymond, it's Draymond, like Dorian said, these guys are always trying to say something provocative to gain more viewership. And I just don't see it. I could see how it could snowball into something else. Dorian mentioned something else on the court. It could snowball into something extra on the court. But I'm thinking off the court, it could snowball into something else. Because like you say, Jordan Poole has family members or whatever, and maybe they were able to calm down the family members, with this one incident. But now Draymond's doling it back up, and now somebody's at their boiling point. So next time they see him, they're gonna, take action off the court, family members. And God forbid anything like that happens. So I'm
Somebody-
not really a fan of that.
Somebody having laser sights and pointing them at the team.
Exactly. Like Dorian said, also I love JJ Redick's podcast. Gilbert Arenas is he's very quirky, but that's just his personality. He's always saying something that's over the top. So it's not just to get viewership with him. That's just who he is.
Right.
If you know anything about his history, that's just who he is. So I'm not a fan of it, though. No.
Mr. Brand, Adam.
I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but in context. If they're talking about, if they're interviewing older players, right? There was a couple of times where Draymond had on these older centers and power forwards, like KG and Bill Russell. He just had a conversation with them. I have no problem with that because we need to know the game, right? We need to know history of the game. I'm completely fine with that. But like you said, when you start inviting current players and
don't invite Paul Pierce either.
Right. Well, we know why Paul Pierce didn't get the invite, but that's a whole other conversation. But I mean, like things like that, where it's like you're causing a problem, and you wonder why certain people don't like each other in the NBA now. I'm not saying you have to be best friends, but I am saying that, like, over the last 10 years or so, they're saying there's been as many or close to as many fights as like they had in the 80s or early 90s when it was definitely somebody's getting punched. And I think some of that is fueled by these remarks that people are saying on these podcasts. It's not helpful. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And then there's another side to that where, especially the older ones like Paul George, Pat Bev, they're looking at ESPN and they're looking at Fox and they're like, all right, I know I'm winding up my career. Let me get this back going now, so that way when it's time, I can hop over to ESPN. I can do this. I can do that. And it didn't help that ESPN laid off everybody. You know what I mean? So it's like they're looking at it as perspective of 2-3 years from now, when my last contract's up, I can just get a bag like Tom Brady did. I can get into ESPN or Fox or wherever I want to go.
Yeah,
because now I have a platform. I have a way to get to the viewers, and that's where we're at now. So,
and that's a good point, Adam. Especially Pat Bell, for instance. This might be his last year because skill wise,
it sucks.
Skill wise, he ain't there. He's not.
He
there.
said he's better than Chris Paul though.
Man, look here. That just means where is he now? In Chicago?
Yeah.
Where is he in Chicago?
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They got some good dispensaries
I thought he went somewhere else.
Well, wherever he is.
Check it out. Hold on.
Wherever he is. I don't know where he is. Oh, no. He's in Philly right now.
Philly, yeah.
Philly signed him.
He sure did.
So
he got waived and got picked up by Philly.
So, well, again, wherever he is, they got some good weed because that's the only way you're gonna be able to think that he's better than Chris Paul. But again, just like you said, Adam, in the case of Pat Bev, and even in the case of Paul, Playoff P, they're understanding that their careers are coming to a close sooner than later. And the thing now is, if I get 1 million followers, right, I can write my own ticket. Look at Pat McAfee. Yep. Pat McAfee just signed for $87 million with ESPN. $87 million because he had this huge following. And he just brought him and his whole little podcast to ESPN. That's what they're looking to do. And the way to get there, Pat Bev thinks for him, the way for him to get there is to be this antagonizer, because that's what he was on the court. But by you antagonizing someone and you still playing, as you said, D, that's gonna cause some problems. Now, when we originally talked about this, my thought was I was thinking about the fact that the NBA can't, or the NFL or NHL, whoever, they can't stop these players from doing something outside of their work, right? They can't stop them. However, one of the things that they should do is put it out there that you can do this, but you can't do it during the season. Maybe that's a way of reducing some of the friction that could be started. And you shouldn't be doing it anyway. You should be concerned about playing.
Be focused on the season. Yeah,
focus on the season. So, like I said,
they're load managing anyway. So I mean,
yeah, pretty much
they can do it in their load management downtime.
But at the end of the day, I'm not a Pat Bev fan, either on the court or on the podcast. When during his time when he was on ESPN, you know how they do the gauntlet, go to all the different shows. He was on there trying to just throw out all these provocative statements that were just so stupid. I'm like, man, would you just shut up? Come on. I can't wait till your time is over because you're making some asinine statements about stuff. And I'm like, the shock value's not there. Stop it. And that's all
and that's what he was going for, yeah.
That's all he's looking for. That's all he's looking for. But yeah, should they be allowed to do it? The jury's still out. But one thing.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish your point, Rod. Finish your point.
No. I'm going to the next statement, but go ahead.
No. I was just saying that what y'all was saying was really segueing into kind of why I was saying earlier that these two topics kind of blend in together. Because what's happening is that they're trying to build a brand before they leave. Right, by getting all these followers, and so now this whole idea of being a brand has become all individuals now they're a brand, right? And so now they're trying to get for their brand really to outshine the brand of the team, that for their brand to outshine the league or whatever, because they know that their time is winding down and they want to go to ESPN. Or again, if you got 1 million something followers, well, we know that on a lot of these platforms, they start paying you. Right. I was, my daughter, Sadia, watches Miss Rachel and Akili and Me and those. And I happen to look up some stuff about Miss Rachel. She makes $3 million a year doing the little YouTube thing for kids. And I'm glad she does because, Sadie is learning so much from watching her on TV, but still at the same time, she's making $3 million. So if you think about people like a Pat Bev who doesn't have a shoe contract, right? Well, this however many followers he can get can add, to his monetary value in terms of things that he's doing outside of the court. And so this idea of branding now has become just a big deal with social media, and I'm talking about not just basketball, but all over. I was listening to them talk about Russell Wilson and about how he trademarked the term "Let's Ride" or something like that. Let's ride Broncos or whatever. So now
let's ride.
So now every time he does a press conference, he says that. Now every time he does something, let's ride. Now it's become the catchphrase. So all of this stuff is just about this idea of branding and individualizing everything. Now everything is individualized in what are supposed to be these team sports. And I think that at a certain point, this branding, these podcasts are going to start interfering with what it is that's going on in the court, because it's too much blending of these things. I agree with you, Rod. It should be separated. If y'all going to do it, well, then do it in the off season. Don't do it during the season, right? But I think that also kind of in many ways could still be problematic because in the off season they ain't got nothing to do. So now they just want to talk more, right? Trash. Talk more trash. Exactly. So I don't know, but I just think it's very interesting how this idea of individualized branding that we've seen started to come into society with social media has now really spilled over into the NBA and into sports, not just the NBA, but in the sports period. Because you got current football players that Tyreek Hill has a podcast that I can think of. KJ Wright That's what brought me to the whole Russell Wilson thing was what he said about Russell Wilson on his podcast. So I think all of those kinds of things can kind of be, real problematic, and really interfere with what's going on the field and on the court. So
just as a quick point of reference, your boy Pat Bev has 128,000 followers on YouTube, on his YouTube channel. So he's trying to build that branding up. You're absolutely right. Because he's trying to transition to another career. Because hopefully this career is over for him. But
hopefully,
man, I'm telling you, Pat Bev is like one of the five players. He on my top 5 of players that I hate the most in the NBA. Y'all know LeBron.
He was supposed to be. He was a defensive player in his prime, and he played hard and he's a hustler, but his defense has been lacking like the last 3 years or so. So
and now
he's been living off their reputation.
Now all he does is go out there and antagonize everybody.
Yeah, he's been living off their reputation because.
And this the last year when he came out with the camera, man, to show the refs. I mean, I was done at that point. I'm like, come on, man, that's just too far. That ain't even that. There is no place in basketball for you to do some stupid stuff like that. None whatsoever. Because the only thing you were trying to do is to put yourself in the spotlight. That's all he did.
And show up the refs.
Show up the refs. Right. And show up the refs. I had no respect for that. That wasn't funny.
No, it wasn't.
I didn't think
it was funny at all.
Yeah. I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, bro, come on. We're in a basketball game. What are you doing? What are you doing? Right. So yeah, he's not one of my favorite players. But anyway,
hopefully he'll be on the podcast soon.
Yeah. Right. I'll definitely invite him on the podcast. Bring your 128,000 followers to our podcast so we can talk about it.
Right. Come on over. You can say whatever you want. And we'll tell you.
Strictly business, never personal.
Never personal. Strictly business.
Strictly business. All right. Now we're going to move over from basketball to a little baseball.
Just a little baseball.
The big story going into this week and next week. Next week is what's today? Today's the 20th, so we got 11 days until the Major League Baseball trade deadline. But the hot topic right now is should and will the Angels trade Shohei Ohtani? Probably one of the best, if not the best player in Major League Baseball. Not only does he hit massive home runs, seems like every night.
He also prevents home runs.
You said what?
Said he also prevents home runs too.
Yeah, he's out there robbing home runs and then throwing 105 miles an hour, striking people out left and right. So he's one of the best players in baseball. But the problem is the Angels haven't won. They're not winning. They haven't won since he's been there. I don't know. I really don't know why they can't put a team together to compete when you have two of the best players in baseball on the same team.
Right.
I still have yet to understand that.
Well,
but that being said, health is a big issue with them. But that being said, let's go around the horn. Dover, we're going to start at you since you're at the top. And if so, will they trade Shohei?
I am not one who believes in trading away your best players if you claim you're trying to win. If you get rid of Shohei Ohtani, what are you saying to Mike Trout, who's been, the best, if not one of the top 3 players in baseball since he's been there? What are you saying to Mike Trout then if you get rid of Shohei Ohtani?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Baseball is just one of them sports that are, because it's 162 games, it's just really weird. It's really hard to maintain a lot of things, through the entire season or whatever. But at the same time, we acting like the Angels have really been that good. They wasn't necessarily that good even when they had Pujols, when they got Pujols there either, right?
Right.
If they're trying to rebuild, then yes, go ahead and trade him, get a whole bunch of prospects, get some draft picks, get that kind of stuff, and then get rid of Mike Trout too, and start over from the beginning. But if you really say that you're trying to win, he's under contract, keep him, and then build something around him.
Okay,
So I say again, if it's me,
hold on. Before you said, well, you already said it, but I got to put it back out there to you. Hold on a second. I got to give you some information. As of right now, today, the Angels are 49 and 48.
148 games out of first.
They're they are 9.5 games out of first place, but they're only 4.5 games out of the wild card. Okay, so it's not like they are out of the race at all, and you still got 2 months left in the season. Okay, that's part one. Part two is that Shohei is about to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest part of the equation. That's the biggest part of the problem. So if you trade him, like you said, D, you're giving up on the season, even though you're only 4.5 games out of the playoff spot. So you're not, showing the desire to win. However, if you don't trade him, you run the risk of you run the risk of losing him and not being able to get anything. So with that information known, now tell me what you want to do.
I still say I don't trade him because for me, if you put this group of players together, group of players together because you felt that these players gave you the best chance to win. Well, give them the opportunity to do that. If you're not trying to win, and you're also not trying to win in the near future, because if he's going to be a free agent, there is the opportunity that they could trade him away. And if the other team, well, baseball is a little bit different, but there's the opportunity that they could trade him away, get all these prospects or whatever, and then get him back. But if you didn't win and you traded him away and you didn't win, he's not coming back anyway. So why not go ahead? That's the reason that you got these guys together, is because you thought you had the opportunity to win. So give them the opportunity to win.
Okay.
Again, if you don't do that, then you're not really saying much to your team at this point now and then going forward. Because if you get rid of Shohei Ohtani, you sure as hell ain't winning this year, and you're not winning in the next 2 to 3 years either.
So, the Angels have a payroll of $93 million.
How much of that is Mike Trout? How much of that is Mike Trout? I know his contract is huge.
Of that $93 million. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Mike Trout is not in here because he's injured. Wait a minute. Oh wow. Let's go back. Let me get some new numbers. Wow. So here's the reason why the Angels are not winning. On their active roster right now, they have $93 million. Okay. On their injured list, this is just for this year, they have salaries of 106.5. So they're paying more people to be on the injured list than they are to play. All right. So that's another factor. So maybe the team can get healthy. These players come back. They're at 500. So, Adam, what's your thoughts?
That's exactly why they should trade him. I'm glad you brought that number up because I know Mike Trout's contract is ridiculously big. It's up there with like Bryce Young, or not Bryce Young. I'm sorry. What's his name from the Phillies? Either way, Phillies guy got the same contract or similar to Mike Trout.
Mm-hmm.
I do think because they're top heavy and they can't afford to get anybody else, I think they do need to let Shohei go. He's in his prime. I think they've learned from that mistake of keeping players in a way hostage. Mike Trout is great, but he hasn't necessarily been the caliber of player that they would want to. He's not a Shohei. You know what I mean? He's still really, really, really good. MVP, if you really, for most of his career, but he never took that extra step and got them to where they needed to be. Because again, they haven't won since he's been there. I would say keep him in California, send him to the Giants or the Dodgers, or send him out to Baltimore. That's where you got to go. They're the people that can afford it. They're the ones that have mostly decent farm system, and any picks that might be associated with it, they actually have them. No other team really has that at the moment.
All right, Pookie Doos.
But like I kind of agree with Dorian as far as it depends on what the goal of the team is. You know, if they're thinking of possibly just letting him go in the off season, or maybe trying to rebuild, then you would go ahead and let him go. But if you're like trying to build something with him and Mike Trout, and you want to use that name because we all know the superstars put the butts in the seats, so that equals more money for the franchise, then I would keep him. So it just depends on which direction the team wants to go. I mean, I heard a alleged conversation about Allen Iverson years ago, and they were asking the franchise why they never decided to go after another big franchise player to go along with Allen Iverson. And the owner of the team, he was more business minded. He said, I already had the arena sold out. So why would I pay out more money to another franchise player? And, at first, I was upset because I'm an Allen Iverson fan, but then I thought about it. Business wise, that was brilliant. Because, I mean, that's my goal, is to make money, and I'm doing it already. So why am I paying out more money when I'm making money? So it depends on which direction the franchise wants to go in.
Man, so that's the reason why Allen Iverson had to have Eric Snow as his backcourt mate.
Yeah, I mean that, and Aaron McKee, and
man.
But it's deep when you think about it. On the business level, it's like
it is.
Yeah.
and because of that, again, I'm looking at the numbers. Shohei's contract is $30 million. Mike Trout is at $37 million. But what's crazy is Anthony Rendon. He is the highest player on their team at $38.5 million.
Really?
Yeah. Which shows that it's not that they don't want to pay the money. Either they got bad luck with all these players getting hurt, or they just keep getting the wrong players. They never should have got Anthony Rendon, because that wasn't the offense has never been an issue with the Angels. They have the offense. They've never had pitching, and they don't go after pitching. So to me, for me, unfortunately, I understand what Dude's talking about with Shohei. He's a sellout every time he pitches, every time he plays, but he's not going to be there next year. And the reason he's not going to be there next year is because he's been there 5 years and you've done absolutely nothing since he's been there. So, and Shohei wants to win. He wants to go to he wants to get paid too, but he wants to go to a situation where he can win. So next year he will be a Yankee, unfortunately. My cheap Cardinals will never attempt to get him, even though that's probably the number one thing that we need. We need somebody to be able to pitch, and we need somebody to actually score. But the Cardinals are way too cheap, even though they have the money. They have the money to do it. Shohei's going to get the highest paid contract in team sports, period. He's going to get minimum $400 million. Minimum $400 million. But that's the reason why they have to trade him, because if they don't, that's actually malpractice on their part for their own team, because they have to.
Losing for nothing.
If they let him go, all they get is a compensatory draft pick, a pick between the first and second round of the draft. And then baseball draft, man, that's like throwing a dart.
Right.
You have no idea what you're going to get.
Blindfolded after being turned around.
Exactly.
With the lights off.
After drinking a sip by yourself.
Exactly. So there's no way I would go to try to draft some unknown player. At least let me get some players off somebody's team that I've scouted. I see how they play. I know that they have the potential to do something. At least let me do that without losing him and getting absolutely nothing. So as hard as it would be to allow him to go somewhere, if you don't trade him, you killing yourself. You killing your team for the next 5 years. You have to trade him. And if you don't, it put like this: if they don't trade him, it's because of what Dude says. They want that money for at least the next 2 months. They looking for the short-term money, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, and I see them trying to offer him the max or whatever that would be in the fall, or the next baseball season, but he's not going to sign that. Like you said, I forgot about the Yankees. They have deep, deep, deep pockets, so he'll be a Dodger or a Yankee. That's it.
At the end of the day, that's where everybody go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or because their owner is spending money now too. So,
and more than likely he'll stay. Truthfully, he'll stay on the West Coast because he's close to home.
Right.
It's easier for him to get home. So, that's the state of the league. Matter of fact, if you go to the Dodgers, he don't even have to move.
Nope.
He can stay in his house. He ain't right now. So, but the thing is, I was looking at a rumor, and the Dodgers actually have. Dodgers always have a good farm team. I don't know how they do it. I don't know where they get all these different players from, but they always have a good farm team. They're able to get 3 and 4 pitchers a season to come in to give them some great pitching off their farm system. Unlike my Cardinals, who have no pitching whatsoever. We'll talk about that later. But the Dodgers actually have a real good package that they can put together for Shohei. I just don't think the Angels would take it. They don't want to trade with the Dodgers, which again is malpractice, because at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for your team. I don't care who it is. If I have to trade with Boston, the Celtics, I'm gonna have to trade with the Celtics. As much as I would hate it, I'm gonna have to trade with the Celtics if that makes my team better. But hey, I digress.
That's why I say
trade for Harden, right?
Dudes do not trade for Harden.
Ben Simmons.
And then the Giants will send them to LA or to the Dodgers. That's the only way that would work, if realistically.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So that's enough on Shohei. I thought I took it off. All right. D must have did it. Oh, my bad. Dorian, you pushing the buttons again?
Look, I pushed the button on the last one. You told me to do it the last time.
At least say you gonna do it. Had I known you was gonna do it, I wouldn't have tried to push the button. You had me pushing the button, turn the stuff off.
I've been pushing button the last
time. Pushing buttons. Anyway, let's talk.
Right, he sounded like Mad Dog again.
Let's get to our NFL talk. NFL talk for the week. NFL talk for the week. This week, I was about to say pitchers and catches reported. This week, the rookies reported to training camp for several teams, one of which is the Detroit Lions. Another one is a team that everyone will be following on Hard Knocks, and that is the New York Jets. Ron, who's a friend of the podcast, because we talked about him so much. Ron is starting his trek toward finishing second to the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
What?
Come on now, y'all know that's what's gonna happen. Come on.
Yeah, we know that's gonna happen every year.
Exactly.
And it actually never happens.
But NFL camps did start this week with the rookies reporting and quarterbacks reporting. They getting earnest next week when the rest of the teams usually report. But there's a couple of different. Let me move this. We're gonna move this around a little bit. There's a couple of different folks that won't be reporting this year, either because they don't have a contract or they're unhappy with their current contract. Amongst those that are unhappy is a player that's kind of making me unhappy. And that's my starting guard for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm a little upset because he doesn't want to report. But what I will say is he's a 6-time All-Pro left guard, one of the best offensive linemen the last 10 years. He's deserving of being one of the highest paid players in the league in his position. And right now he's not. So bruh, if this is what you got to do to get your money, do what you got to do during training camp. Better be there September when the games count. I don't care what you do right now. You ain't got to practice. You ain't got to do nothing. Go ahead, go in there. You and Jerry Jones, y'all fight. Get your money. But come game one of the season, you better be on that offensive line. If you ain't there, then we got a problem. Then we have a problem. I'm cool right now. I'm good. But don't let me be there. Come
Are you sure?
I'm good.
You don't sound okay.
I'm straight. I am so good. But look at here. Look at here.
That's what drunk people say when you ask them, "You drunk?" No, I'm fine.
That's what he said before he dropped that charge. He's fine.
All I'm saying. This is a. I'm gonna tag you too, Zach. Zach Martin. Do your business, bruh. Handle your business right now. Do what you gotta do. It's for your family. I understand. I ain't got no beef with you whatsoever. But bruh, when is our first game? Let me check. Our first game is September the 10th. Your ass better be there September 9th, ready to play on September 10th. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You better be there. So do what you got to do right now, bro. I ain't mad.
And y'all play the Giants. Just pay him, right? Pay him. Y'all play the Giants too. That first game.
You better be there, bro.
But will Saquon be there? But will Saquon be there?
Now that's the next topic. I talked about Zach. Zach, we good. We good. We good. I ain't gonna talk about you no more.
You know, while I truly understand this idea of wanting a long-term deal, completely understand that. I don't know if I could turn down $10 million. I don't know if I could not play for an entire year, turning down $10 million. And this is the thing to, get to the idea of the running back crisis, because as a running back now, if I sit out and I don't play, it's really not a guarantee that somebody is going to pay me the next season. They don't want to pay me now, and I'm already one of the best players in the league.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to sit out and not play. Now the Giants, might, falter or whatever. We don't know. But if they're not trying to pay you now, then I don't know who else is going to pay you after you sit out. So I think that would be a really big gamble because of the way that this running back thing has gone the last several years. I think right now that's a bad gamble, and that's a bad bet. Yeah, you betting on yourself. I get that. But at this point, just because of the way things are going, that's a bad bet. Take the 10.5 million. Take the franchise tag. Now maybe you won't want to re-sign with the Giants. Maybe somebody else will pay you or whatever. Maybe. But even if they don't, there's no way. If you sit out, there's no way you're making back up that 10 million.
No matter
you can't make back up that 10.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know if I could turn that down. Again, I understand that it's principles involved, right? But I don't know if I could turn that down. Just because of the way that the running back thing has been going the last several years.
Exactly. And the market is what the market is, no
Right.
matter how you feel about it. So
right.
So I'm trying to find out. Hold on, let me get to what is Saquon's age? How old is he? Saquon is 26.
26, yeah.
He is 26 years old. So here's the unfortunately. Now there's well, let me get to this part first. It is my belief that there is hella collusion going on right now with these NFL teams when it comes to the running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are doing everything they can to push the salaries for running backs lower than what they should be. And the reason for that, again, goes back to how running backs have performed. Running backs on average, even the best ones, will give you 6 years, 6 good years. Right? Those are the better ones. You're all pro. They're going to give you 6 good years. So by the time they get to be 27, 28, they're pretty much to the point where they're about to retire. And those are the good ones. Most of them only last 2 or 3 years. Right? But your better ones are going to give you, 6 years, which brings me to Saquon Barkley. Even if you sit out a year, right? You sit out the whole year. Like D said, you're never going to make that $10 million back, no matter how much you try. You're just not, right? But then next year, you're 27 years old.
mm-hmm.
And if I wasn't going to give you a long-term contract at 26, what makes you think I'm going to give you a long-term contract at 27? Even though you did sit out a whole year, but you're a year older. You know what I'm saying? So, it's the nature of the beast right now. I was looking at the stat. We talked about it earlier, where every position in the NFL, the average salary has gone up, except for running backs, and theirs have actually gone down, and it's gone down significantly. It's gone down significantly. It's like over $1 million of what it once was, and that's because teams. We talked about this last week. Teams are now they have the philosophy of, I'm going to draft me a running back. I'm going to have him for 4 or 5 years. And then I'm going to draft me another running back. Right? Mm-hmm. So I'm never going to give you a second contract. Right? Even the better ones, I'm never going to give you a second contract. Saquon Barkley was the New York Giants offense. Right. But it says a lot that even though he was
and they made the playoffs,
and they made the playoffs, that they don't want to give him this money. That says quite a bit.
A lot.
Right? Now, again, Saquon and Josh Jacobs, they may be the exceptions. They very well may be the exceptions. However, the rule right now is we do not pay running backs. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that's a rule that these running backs gonna have to understand. Mm-hmm. If you go be a receiver.
He had, except for the year and a half or whatever that he was hurt, right? Mm-hmm. But 2018, he had 261 carries. 2019, 217 carries. Last year, he had 295 carries for 1,312 yards, and he had 57 receptions with 10 touchdowns altogether. So that's essentially what they do. They draft these running backs and run them into the ground. Mm-hmm. And then they just go get somebody else. Again, nobody has been paid since McCaffrey. Mm-hmm. 2-3 years ago. So and again, it's not that McCaffrey ain't worth it. Oh, he's definitely worth it. But still, just the way that the running backs are going, I think that that's a bad bet for safety.
So here's the funny part, D. You know, the franchise tags is the average of the top 5 players at your position, right? Top 5 salaries. You got a visitor?
Yeah.
It's an average of the top 5. You better bring our girl, boy. Bring my baby up here. Hey, baby.
Hey, Uncle Baby. How are you?
Y'all see our
girlfriend.
Y'all see our baby. Terry Lynn, hold up.
Terry Lynn,
ladies and gentlemen, we have the wonderful Terry Lynn Brown in the back. I need each and every one of y'all to write a comment. Say, Terry, we love you. We are so happy that you are back home. And nothing but good health from here on out. Mwah.
Thank you.
We love you, Terry.
Love you too. Yeah.
Look at our baby. Look at our baby. But anyway, back to the point. The franchise tag is made up of the top five salaries for that position. 2 of the salaries are at $15 million, right? Which means, here's the math.
Oh no, not math again.
3, 4, and 5 have to be down towards 6 in order for the average to be 10.
Gotta be.
So
I think Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey are the only ones getting paid.
So, and that just goes to show you that these teams are not paying these running backs. The Detroit Lions signed a running back 3 years at $12 million. Right? They're not paying them. They're just not paying. That's a position. It's going to get to a point real soon that your kickers and your punters are going to make just as much as your starting running backs in the league. And that's just crazy. That's just crazy. But that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of the beast. Y'all lost Dalvin Cook. What did you replace him with?
I am not a Vikings fan. I'm a Saints fan. I don't give a shit about the Vikings at all. But to answer your point, they did. That's what they've been doing. The last 3 years, they've been stacking. They've been stacking up running backs. So
from the draft,
yeah, like second, third round, you'll see them trade up or trade down so they can grab another running back. And they're slick with it. They've been grabbing maybe 2 to 3 running backs every draft for the last 4 years. They already know what they're about to do. Their running back room is like 6 or 7 guys.
Oh, wow.
One out, next one step up. One out, the next one step up. The Saints are going to be doing the same thing because they realized Alvin Kamara got hurt and they don't have an offense now. So now they're learning from the Vikings and other people in the division, get you 6 running backs. When one goes down, cool. We don't have to pay him no more. Now, I think that's terrible. I think they should actually figure something out. I don't want this position to go away like the fullback. Who uses fullbacks anymore? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't want that position to go away. Where it's still, yes, it is a passing league, but there's still a lot of runners, and that is how you move the ball. You know, let's just be clear. You're never going to get away from the run game, so you got to pay these guys. Now, side note, you said you want your Cowboys to come ready. That's not going to happen because they've been talking to Mr. Slap Your Mama at all. They've been talking to Des Bryant, and I don't think they're coming to camp at all. So, just so you know.
Oh, he ain't going to be there. I know he ain't going to be there, which is fine. I'm good with that. You don't have to be. I don't care about camp. I don't care about camp. I care about September 10th.
I don't think so. Mr. Mama was about to sit out. I think he's going to tell them to sit out.
Let Zach not be there. Man, I'll be in Dallas my damn self.
Who's the other guy that just sat out too? Or is thinking about it? Is it Micah Parsons? Or what was the other guy? I think it was Micah Parsons.
That's a completely different topic. We don't have to. We hitting on 2 hours right now. Because my Cowboys have some very serious.
Right, because Rodney's gonna turn this into a 3-hour show.
Exactly. Talking about my Cowboys now. We have some serious issues when it comes to the players that are in need of contracts.
Yeah.
So we got, like you said, you got Michael Parsons next year. CD Lamb. Tony Pollard is going to be. So what Tony Pollard did is different than what Saquon and Josh Jacobs did. Tony Pollard understood. Look, let me take this $10 million guaranteed, and then next year I can get a second franchise tag, or I can go play for somebody else. But I'm gonna get this $10 million right now. So he did it a little different. Like I said, he bet on himself because first off, he's coming off an injury, so he has to make sure he has to go out there and prove himself. And that was one of the reasons why the Cowboys just tagged him. It was, again, smart business. Even with Saquon and even with Josh Jacobs, it's smart business on the part of the teams. Let me tag you. I'm guaranteeing you the average of the top 5 players at your position, right? Let me tag you, guarantee you this $10 million. Next year I can tag you again, which means you can get 20 some odd $1 million. It's just like you having a guaranteed contract, but I'm not guaranteeing it. But the players want that guarantee. I want to know how much money I'm gonna have, because unfortunately in the NFL, it doesn't matter how big your contract is. You can have a $500 million contract. The only thing that counts is the guaranteed portion.
The guaranteed money.
So
because they will cut you.
They will cut you. So I understand, and I don't fault any man trying to get his money. I completely understand. However, you got to understand the nature of the league right now. And the nature of the league right now, unfortunately, is we don't pay running backs.
Right.
We'll pay everybody else, just not running backs, because running backs get hurt. Why? Because we're going to run you in the ground. D just said Saquon had almost 300 carries last year. 300 carries.
That is a lot.
300 carries.
That's not even counting his receptions. If you count his receptions, he's at 350 touches.
Jeez.
350 touches in 1 year.
350 touches. That means you're touching the ball 20 times per game, an average of over 20 times per game. I'm running you into the ground, and then I don't want to pay you. I don't want to reward you for what you did.
What you did for me, exactly.
Yeah.
Now I heard on I think it was the local sports station. I'm pretty sure it was a local sports station where they were talking about it, and he made a point that was actually kind of thought provoking. It made me think about it. He was like, they need to stop. You can still have your running back tag. You can have your running back tag, but you also need a playmaker tag, and the playmaker can be a combination of the running backs and the receivers and the tight ends. Because tight ends complain that they're getting they're getting 150 opportunities, but you're paying them as a tight end, not a receiver, right? Your running backs, they're running the ball and they're catching the ball. They're complaining they want to be paid like receivers also. I don't know why receivers became, well, I do know why, because it's a passing league. But receivers are the second highest third highest after the left tackle. Players on the offensive side of the ball. If you make this playmaker designation and just have a combination of all three, then maybe you can start satisfying some of these other players. They still might not get all that they want, but your tight ends might make more money. Your running backs might make more money, and you can keep them happy. Because at the end of the day, the Giants are not good. The Giants are nowhere close to being good without Saquon Barkley. So made me think about it. Dalvin Cook still is not signed. But someone who did sign is our boy D Hop. D, where is D hopping to next? Wasn't that your thing?
Yeah, D hops to Tennessee.
Tennessee.
I think that this is a great signing for Tennessee, for the Titans. He didn't get the 15 million that he was looking for, but he got like 12 and a half or 12 or something like that. But I think for Tennessee, it's great considering the fact that you just got finished trading AJ Brown a couple of years ago. You had no receiver. Now you got Derrick Henry, one of the best backs in the league. And now you got DeAndre's getting older, but still at the same time, he's still one of the better receivers in the league. For Ryan Tannehill, who's not necessarily, when he has good receivers, as with anybody else, but when he has good receivers, is actually a good quarterback. And in the AFC South,
wide open.
Well, I mean, between everybody's picking the Jaguars to win the division, but they really haven't been that good the last several years, and they really wasn't that good last year, except for the fact that Indianapolis just completely fell apart. I don't see Indianapolis really being that good with the rookie quarterback. We'll see how good he's actually going to be, because now they're going to load the box on Jonathan Taylor. Indianapolis still has a pretty good defense, but again, I don't know how they're going to look. So Houston as well. Houston. So I really think that having DeAndre Hopkins really gives Tennessee a really good chance to win that division and to really actually do something in the playoffs. Because supposedly he's either a rookie or a second-year receiver, supposed to be pretty good too. They're putting a lot of stock in him as well. But if you can add him to an already established offense, then I think that gives Tennessee a real good chance to win that particular division. I think that was a good sign. I think it was a good on D-Hop and good on Tennessee. Adam?
I think it's great. He played in that division for 7 years. He knows those people. He knows those coaches. D-Hop is going, when he played for the Texans, he's going to be a menace in the AFC South. He's not going to be, obviously he's lost a step. He's getting older, but he's still going to be a menace. He's still going to be really quick, and I would say he's probably going to be top 5 in receiving yards. Because like you said, when Ryan Tannehill has receivers, he's actually a competent quarterback, and he actually looks really good. I mean, a couple years ago, him and Ryan Fitzpatrick were seriously being considered for MVP because they had good receivers. So it's like, I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to see some of their games. Hope they take it a little easy on the NFC South, but you never know.
I'm definitely got to get to a game in Nashville.
Yeah, that could be fun.
So, well, real quick, on D-Hop, you say he's lost a step. D-Hop was never fast. He's more quick than fast.
Yeah, and I mean, like, more of those quick cuts.
Yeah, he's able to get to his position. But the thing he has
is glue.
He got gorilla glue on his fingers.
That cat has gorilla glue for hands.
He can catch anything that come within 10 yards of him.
He does not have blood flowing through the veins in his hands. That is super glue that cat has flowing in his hands. Because man, he don't drop nothing
at all.
So now again, Tennessee is a good landing spot for him. However, I think that the New England Patriots dropped the ball big time.
Oh yeah,
with not signing him.
No.
First off, they have the money. New England got more money than anybody in the league right now in order to pay players. And for whatever reason, Belichick doesn't want to pay the players. But New England has zero receivers that you can count on. They have some receivers, but name me one. Exactly. Crickets. You can't name one. So for Belichick to have Hopkins in the building, he came and visited your team. You have him in the building, and you let him leave when you say this is like the most important season for your third year quarterback who hasn't had support since he's been there.
Right. He had a defensive coordinator as the offensive coordinator.
And a special teams coach.
Right.
And that was your offensive coordinator last year. So you're not supporting this
contract. Oh man, the city's gonna rip him alive if he don't do something.
So to me, the fact that Bill Belichick let Hopkins get out of that state without a contract is just unbelievable to me. Unbelievable to me. You didn't draft any receivers. You didn't sign really any receivers. Matter of fact, who are the receivers?
I thought they drafted a receiver. Oh my God, what were they thinking?
Hold on, let me go. Maybe I'm wrong, but let me go to New England's roster right now to see who their receivers are. They have on their roster at the receiver position Kendrick Bourne, 6-year out of Eastern Washington. Kayshawn Boutte, he's a rookie out of LSU. They drafted him in the 6th round. They have going back, Kayshawn Boutte. They have Demario Douglas, a rookie out of Liberty, 5'8" receiver that they drafted in the 6th round. They have going back to him, Trey Nixon, 2nd-year player out of University of Central Florida. They drafted him in the 7th round last year. They have Devontae Parker. Okay, cool. We got somebody that I remember. Devontae Parker, but he's an 8-year veteran. He's 30 years old. Matthew Slater. Matthew Slater is a 15-year vet.
Jesus.
From 37 years old from UCLA.
I thought that was dude from Saved by the Bell. You said Slater.
They did sign Juju Smith-Schuster. That was their big free agent signing.
Yeah.
They signed him out of Kansas City. He won the championship with Kansas City last year. And then they have Taquan Thornton, who they drafted in the 2nd round this year. That was their top draft pick, top receiver. And Riley Webb, a 25-year-old rookie out of the Citadel that they is undrafted. So that's their receiver room.
They went to undrafted players. That's how you know it's bad.
That's their receiver.
That's bad.
They have 3 players that's drafted in the 6th and 7th round.
That's terrible.
Come on, man. But yet you pressing your quarterback. If he don't win, we gonna cut him. You're not giving him anything to win with.
Jesus Christ.
So Belichick, even though, don't get me wrong, I don't want New England to win jack, but come on, man. At least field a competent team. You're in the AFC East. You're in the AFC East. How you gonna win with these receivers?
It's not hard.
And Juju, you have Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster. That's your 1 and your 2. Juju barely has been on the field the last 2 years. Devontae Parker was good.
Juju.
Devontae Parker was good 4 years ago when he was in Miami. He hadn't done anything since he's been in New England. Why? They don't have an offense to do anything. That's my thing on D-Hop. I wish nothing but the best for D-Hop down in Tennessee. I think he's going to be great. And I'm with you. I think he's going to be top 5 in the league in receiving yards. And receptions.
They're listing Kendrick Bourne as one. Juju they got as the slot. That's a bad idea. That is a terrible idea.
They got Bourne as the 1?
And they're putting Juju in the slot. That is a terrible idea.
Well, Parker 2?
Parker's 2.
They don't want to win.
We'll see how that works.
They don't want to win. They don't want to win.
I mean, unless they're just thinking he can physically jump and dominate, I guess. But there's That's not a smart move. Why would you do this?
Well, again, Belichick think he's the smartest person in the room, and his thought is, I can get all these rookies or undrafted receivers to come in and play, and they're going to do well because of my system. And how did that work last year when you decided I'm going to take a defensive coordinator and make him my offensive coordinator? How did that work?
Poorly.
You know?
Not very well.
Poorly.
So, well, Bill, welcome to mediocrity.
Good luck to you.
You are right now. You are right now. You know, so I mean, the biggest question now is, bro, was it really time?
I mean, kind of is.
Was it?
It kind of is. I mean,
kind of looks that way.
He's never won anything without Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm. He made Bruce Arians look like an amazing coach. And I'm not saying he's not, but Tom got every single assistant coach a head coaching job. That's just a fact. That's a fact. We all are gone. So that was just something about Tom more than Belichick's system.
Yep. So anyway, we're gonna move away from New England, and we're gonna go down the coast.
And last but not least,
down to Washington. In Washington, finally,
the Commanders.
Finally, the sale of the Commanders is complete.
He gone.
Daniel Snyder is no longer the owner of the Washington Commanders.
He went that away.
Ding dong, the witch is dead.
He gone.
He is out, thankfully. But
see you.
But right. Even though the NFL agreed to the ownership group that included Magic Johnson to become the next owner of the Washington Commanders, and Daniel Snyder is no longer there, they gave him a bill on the way out the door.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL fined him $60 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They said, hold this.
$60 million.
Right.
Because, one, Daniel Snyder withheld $15 million from the other owners from their revenue sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Can't mess with them owners' money, man. Can't mess with them owners' money. And that's all that they knew about, that they could confirm. Because allegedly this has been going on for quite some time. This is just for 1 year. So they didn't go back too much. But they also fined him for not sexual assault.
For creating a hostile workplace.
A hostile work environment. Sexual harassment. That's what I'm trying to say. They fined him for sexual harassment to a total of $60 million for all the fines. So here, not only do you have to give us a portion of the money that you're getting from the sale, give us another $60 million because you owe us.
Yeah,
you owe us.
So instead of receiving $6.05 billion in the sale, he's going to receive $5.96 billion. So it's like
now we have.
He like, okay, Akeem, don't take my pocket money. That's basically what that is.
Now we have $100,080,000.
Right. It's like, okay.
So hey,
whatever. Still the highest. What is it? The highest sale. The most
of a North American
thing that ever sold for in sports history, professional sports history in the United States. Is still at that until Jerry sells the Cowboys, and then that's going to eclipse it.
Jerry ain't never selling the Cowboys. It's going.
Steve gonna sell it.
It's going to Steven.
Yeah, he gonna sell it.
Chelsea from the Premier League, they have the highest They sold their club for $5.3 billion to a group led by the LA Dodgers co-owner Todd Bodley. So yeah, and it was just edged out by the Broncos sale for $4.6 million. So this is the highest sale of a team in all of sports history.
Oh wow! I thought it was just U.S. history. It's all of sports history.
Wow!
All of sports history.
Magic only has a 4% share.
Yep.
He's only got a 4% stake in the $6.5 billion price tag. But hey, it's more than I got.
Yeah, it's 4 more percent than we have combined.
Right, exactly. So I ain't mad at Magic. Do your thing.
So congrats to Magic.
Yes, sir.
Congrats to the NFL for getting that pedophile womanizing.
Now you turn him into a pedophile.
Yeah, I'm calling everything.
I mean, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but we can't confirm it, so fuck it.
But congrats to get him out of the league. That's one of the best things. But you know what? Let me take that back. I'm not congratulating them at all because they knew about all this stuff he was doing, all the stuff that he did, and never said a word. So skip all that. Y'all got what you deserve anyway. All the bad publicity, whatever. But he is no longer a subject of the NFL, so we don't have to talk about him ever again. Mm-hmm. So this was fun, fellas. We had a good time, good evening.
Yeah. We got
good evening conversation.
Yeah.
Thank our special guest.
Thank you for our special guest, Brian Adam Cole from Minneapolis, Minnesota. What was it? Fluffy Lover. That's what he called it. Fluffy Lover. We gonna put that up. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me take that up here. Fluffy.
Oh Lord.
Let me put a banner up here. Fluffy. You lucky I can't get to it fast enough. Type Fluffy Lover. But guess what? Remember I kept telling y'all about editing? It's gonna be there when I edit.
Nothing wrong with that. I'll accept it.
So we want to thank the Fluffy Lover for joining us this afternoon, this evening rather. So on behalf of D Almighty, the Wonder Mouse, on behalf of DOOZE, on behalf of me, Rod D, we want to thank y'all for joining again. Click that subscribe button. Click that what's the other button?
The like button.
The follow button. Like.
Yeah, thumbs up.
Click all them buttons.
What's the one for the money? Click
keep up the money button. Click the money button. Make sure y'all find that money button. It's on BIOTBpodcast.com. Y'all can go there. You want to see the numbers, the letters, Did you move my stuff, man? What happened?
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to get this right here. Go there. Y'all go there. Push the money button. Push the money button.
That's right. We gotta pay our special guest.
Right.
Cut me a check.
Right.
Right now he ain't getting jacked.
Yeah, you gotta beg just like we do.
The way I've been running around the country with my son, yeah, pay me.
Right now you ain't getting jacked. We also want to thank our special guest. Where my baby at? Sadia. She gone?
Yeah.
Well, we thank her anyway. She always brightens up our day.
She back there harassing Grandy.
One thing that I missed at the beginning of the show, I have to say right now. Shout out to all of our super fans that watch us each and every week. Next week, we're going to shout out one specific super fan. If you want to be that super fan that we shout out, why don't you hit us up at this email address? As soon as I put that up here.
I thought you were going to say, give us some money.
Hit us up right here and tell us how much you enjoy Blame It on the Boogie podcast. I know y'all do. You ain't no choice. Y'all know we the number one podcast on Podcast Central.
On all of them.
That's right.
We number one on everything. We only got 12 followers, but hey, we still number one on them 12.
Hey, that should be $12.
That's a real piano, guys. If you come back, I'll play it for you.
That's right.
It's not a real piano.
But check this out, Adam. You do know why we invited you to the show, right?
No, sir. Why?
Because you got like 1,000 followers. We need them all to come holler at us.
Yeah, I got you.
Bring them followers to us, man.
I got you. Say
But
less.
no, we just have fun on this podcast. We just, each and every week. We want to thank you again for joining us. For those that enjoyed what we said, we love you. For those that don't,
Kiss it.
we out.
Don't blame it on sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight. Don't blame it on the good times. Blame it on the boogie. Don't blame it on the sunshine. Don't blame it on the moonlight. I don't blame it on the good times. Blame it on the boogie. Sunshine, sunshine, moonlight, moonlight, good times. Blame it on the boogie.